You always use that active red light defenders. I think it's like. You always use that active red light defenders. I think it's like. You always use that active red light defenders. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. Yeah, right. Said it there, people. People deluded. I'm back again. First things first. Happy New Year once again, because it's the third day of a new year. Hope you're all moving closer to your goals, hopes, dreams, ambitions, and aspirations. Hope you and your loved ones are in great health. As usual, whether you're on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube, make sure you're cross-following and hitting the like button, following with Amazon Prime, and following on all the socials. I appreciate you lot support. And as usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. Now, again, later today, people, make sure your notification bells are on. I've actually reviewed the month of December, which has been a terrible month for Arsenal, but new month, new blessings. Obviously, we're in and amongst the transfer season, and every day we're going to get linked with another player. We've been linked with Vlahovic, Onana, Olise, Tini return, Ivan Toney rumors persist, and tomorrow I hope it will be some new names. You know, as you know, 98% of the in the knows and the journalists and the transfer talk is all BS. But I think I speak for every Arsenal fan when we say we would like some additions in this January winter transfer window, and it goes without saying, people. Man said, cough, bro. Appreciate that. If we bought Vlahovic, I'd no longer support Arsenal. Harsh, man. Harsh. Out of all the players in the dosh we've had, big up my guy Rio as well. Hope you're doing well and safe. But bit harsh, bit extreme a bit, don't you think? You know? Bit different there, man. You know, I don't think Vlahovic is the worst player. If anything, should have gave up with Pablo, Marie, Willian, Cedric, and so on and so forth. You know, I'm not against Vlahovic. I'm not against really half of the strikers we're linked with. If I had to say my first choices, obviously I'd love Osimhen. Whether that happens is another thing, which I don't. I wouldn't be against Vlahovic because Mikel Arteta scouted him heavily. Now, there was a time, you know, Mikel Arteta wanted Rafinha, Mudryk. These lot at their teams aren't really doing the business. Smash the like button, YouTube crew. So I'm not saying his talent ID is spot on, but if he really wanted him and he is available for 50 odd million because Juventus are in financial issues, and, you know, I'm all for it. I really doubt. I'm very pessimistic on anything that links us with players that are Italian or players, well, yeah, Italian players / players based in Serie A, because we've been taken around the houses several times, really and truly. But I'm on Vlahovic, especially if Juventus are broke. 1 minute it was they want to sell him because they're not getting any closer to an agreement. Now it's all, you know, Juventus are broke and all of these things. So I'm not sure. And Nketiah is doing better this season than Vlahovic, and Nketiah is in a harder league. I don't know what Vlahovic did to you, but I hear that, man. He's literally just okay. I think you like downplaying Vlahovic a bit. I wouldn't be against it. Please, not that Dusan, please. He's all right. He's okay. But 50 million when Tony is right there, just a bit more. I would love Kieran Tierney, Ivan Toney at the club as well. I'm not going to lie, out of both of them, I'd lean towards Vlahovic. He's younger and there's a bit more of a resale value. He'd be slightly cheaper as well, if I'm completely honest. That DG Thoughts video hit different on my 5K run. Big up yourself, Lobo, for always being part of the Twitch gang. And yeah, man, nice to see I've given you some entertainment on your run, man. It sounds like the only solid rumor is Hato. I don't think there is any solid rumors, you know. I think being interested and having an admiration for a player or players, I think that's as far as it goes. We know we like the look of Zubamendi. We know we like Dusan Vlahovic. We know we have Tony. We know we like Douglas Luiz. You know, we like Frimpong, for example. But everybody's interested in everyone, whether interest correlates to bids, personal terms being agreed, and ultimately people holding shirts and signing for the club is a very different thing. I would love Hato. If I was him personally, you know, I would be tempted to jump at the chance to join Arsenal. And for what it's worth, Hato's a quality player. You know, can play as a left back, can play as a centre half. Despite his young age, captained Ajax, so there's clearly something there. He's young, he's an impressionable. You saw what happened when we signed the last player from Ajax in Timber. Unfortunately, he's injured, but, you know, he hit the ground running. And I think when you look at Ajax's ethos and what Arsenal historically is about, it's a match made in heaven. If I was Hato, though, I don't think there's a need to rush. Obviously, there's always going to be pressure playing for any club, like a big club with Ajax. But you're 17, you're playing week in, week out. You're not you're not playing for one of the stronger teams in Europe where there's a lot of pressure. Just learn, hone your craft, play, and the move. You're 17, the move will happen. Really, if I was him, I'd make the move in the summer, really, because it seems like you're playing to a degree week in, week out Ajax. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case at Arsenal. Obviously, he's 17. So before we talk about on the field, off the field, obviously he'd have to adapt to the way of life in London. He ain't going to have no friends here. I don't know if he's got a girlfriend. And even at that age, at 17, if I had a daughter and she was going out with a footballer, you'd probably say, yeah, because there's a meal ticket there. But would you really want your 17-year-old daughter to run off to London from Holland with a young man? It don't really make sense, in my opinion. So there's a lot he would have to do off the field. Then obviously on the field, obviously there's the intensity. The Premier be joining mid-season. I wouldn't quite say it's toxic at Arsenal right now, but the sentiment isn't as positive as it was in August. And yeah, ultimately he's joining mid-season, then you'd have to give him time to adapt. I'm all for Hato, man. In the summer, he needs to arrive. If we miss out, someone else is going to get involved, man. Buffon said it's okay to cry. Daily Dusan Vlahovic rumours again. We're in January. People are downplaying Dusan way too much. I agree, man. Hey, DJ, I'm not a fan of Vlahovic. I don't know why, but I'm not. That's fair. Life would be boring if we all thought the same way. What player do you think you man need to take you forward? The players I think that could take us. Obviously, I don't have a bunch of big up ends, man, as well. I don't have a bunch of names, really. The players, just sticking on what you said in terms of taking it forward, my interpretation, I'm on the Declan Rice kind of signings. They don't have to all be 100 million, but we need people that move the boat out. Like, obviously, I assume you're a Liverpool fan. Let me check your display picture. Obviously, you bought Alisson and Van Dijk for big money, poster boys and things. But you got them, you got Salah, you got Firmino, you got Mane. All whether they cost a lot of money or not, they were game changers and difference makers. And percentage got you a lot better. And before you know, you add a couple of these guys, your squad is better, you're more competitive. I think we need to move in that realm. Obviously, January, the players, the Pedro Netos, the Zubamendis, the Douglas Luizes, the Hattos, that I believe in the short, medium, and long term could take this club forward. I don't think it could happen really and truly. So I guess it's a case of, even Lenny Yoro as well, the young centre back, he's getting a lot of admirers, but January can forget about all of that, if I'm honest. Arteta has denied opportunities to academy players, yet he's eyeing Curtis Jones when Klopp gave the chance. What a joke. How can we play 20 EPL games, yet none of the academy players got a chance? I do think Arteta is a bit stingy, but at the same time, I'm not saying you, Eugene, but I do think fans want all the Haaland boys to play. They want the same players to play. They want everyone to get a chance, and they still want us to be competitive. It's not that. It's not really that. And obviously, yeah, I hear you, but Curtis Jones is significantly more experienced, really. I don't really buy the Curtis Jones rumours. We spoke on it yesterday, so check out the last stream. He was another one that some Arsenal fans were turning up their nose. I don't think he moves the needle at the point of, if Curtis Jones signed for us tomorrow, I don't think, we're closer to Liverpool, we're closer to City. But I like him. I can see why Arteta likes him. He can play out wide, players at 8. For me, it's the mentality. Like, he typifies that kind of Liverpool kind of swagger. And more than anything, we need mentality monsters. And I think Curtis Jones gets that. Obviously, he's blessed technically. He's at a relatively young age. I'm having Curtis Jones. I think Liverpool will be crazy to sell him, and I don't think they will. So I think that's more than that's a rumour. But if there's legs to it, I wouldn't be against it. Yeah, I hear you. Neto Tony would be good for you, man, on what you said about percentages. You know what? The thing with Ivan Toney, if you buy Ivan Toney now, then that rules out any other striker you're going to get in the summer, which some people say, look, we're competing, quote unquote, for the league at this moment in time. It doesn't really matter. I like Ivan Toney. I think out of all the strikers Arsenal have been linked with, you're hearing this Vlahovic stuff now, or just not even Arsenal been linked with. When you look at these quote-unquote household name strikers, it seems like Ivan Toney is the most, like, he's already got a foot out the door. If I'm Brentford, I'm not letting him leave in January because we've got injuries. We're flirting with relegation based on where they are in the table. If I've said it before, if I'm Brentford, I'm sitting there and saying to Ivan Toney, I know you owe us nothing, but most clubs would have washed their hands with you when the betting stuff came out. We supported you. We stuck by you. The door is still open for you. You kind of got to stay. And even that, if Arsenal spend the bag on Ivan Toney, I think quality will always shine, but he hasn't kicked a competitive ball in the Premier League in any of the 19 games. So is Ivan Toney going to hit the ground running? Is he going to be that quality player from the jump? I don't know. But he seems, based on his contract with 18 months, he's one of them that's got, a foot out the door, really. I don't think they let him go. But yeah, man. I'm sub to Juventus, subreddit it, and they all say he's hella wasteful. Also, his misses comp don't look good. I hear that, but what striker don't miss? Haaland misses chances all the time. Salah's not a striker, but he misses chances all the time. As long as you can put the ball in the back of the net and get me 15, 20, maybe even 30 league goals, I don't really care. I don't think Vlahovic is like the one I want, but I don't think he's bad, really and truly, man. Yeah, you'll all be silly to sell Curtis Jones, really, if I'm honest with you. Because when you look at Liverpool's side, I know Firmino's left, Mane's left, Firmino, Mane's left. But you look around the majority of your team, how many players are there for the future? You know, you've brought in Darwin Núñez, who's got time on his side, Jota to a degree as well, Diaz as well. Obviously, I don't know if the Carvalhos and Harvey Elliott's and them guys are going to be there long term, but them as well. Trent's obviously there. And then you throw Curtis Jones. Them lot are like, they're the bless me. Sorry, people. They're like the present and the future. So it'd be silly, man. And there's bare resale value. Curtis Jones sounds like agent talk for a new deal. I'd agree with that as well. Could say the same of Timber. What do you mean? Also, Solanke scored twice as many goals this season and in this league. That's true, but this is and you're right. But this is Solanke's first standout season, and I'm not saying you, but if we was to look at who scored goals in the Premier League and who's up there for goals and other star players, we could rub out every player really. We've actually been appreciate that. We've also been linked with I lost my trail of thought. We've also been linked with Solanke once again. I'm 100%. Why is this stuff not coming up? What's going on? Why are the comments not coming up now? Alexander, your comment won't come up, but it says I'm 100% on board with Vlahovic. Wanted him in the summer. Provides a different but needed look up front from Jesus. I hear that. Big up, DG. Hope you're blessed. Appreciate that. Smash the likes, people. Get me Solanke over Vlahovic, to be honest. At least he's Prem proven, and I think he's better than Eddie. And sell Jesus in the summer and get Osman. I'm not selling Jesus regardless of who arrives at the football club. I disagree. I'd prefer Vlahovic over Solanke. I think Solanke's all right. I would like him if he was to replace Eddie Nketiah. And, at his age now, he's 26, 27. This might be where he starts to have an uptake in performance. But is this Solanke announcing himself to a higher level in the league, or is this a purple patch of a season, which what a great one it's been, man. Dusan would be a better fit, in my opinion. Vlahovic is a very complete striker in a very restricted system. I'm not opposed to signing Ajax players. I don't think anyone would really and truly. But Ajax, if you're Ajax, you know that Hato and any other players you develop, they're money earners, really. The Premier League has money. We all know if Hato was to sign for Barcelona, Real Madrid, I don't know why I'm thinking of them, but Roma, just a foreign club, they're going to pay a fraction as to what a Premier League club is going to pay. Now, obviously, there's examples of, PSG have spent mad money on players. Deluded wasn't exactly cheap to Juventus and then to Bayern Munich. But it's like being a British tourist and going to a country. We're not paying the local price. So if with that, Ajax know they've got a moneymaker in at 17, man. I don't know about your trust. I don't know about the Solanke shout, but everybody's allowed an opinion, man. I want Timber back today, man. Need the hunger, but we just got to let the man recover, really and truly. I don't understand why we keep rejecting for offers for Eddie Nketiah. Because we're kind of damned if we do, damned if we don't. We're restricted by FFP, rightly or wrongly. We probably need to sell before we can buy. Is January the right time to sell players? I do think a striker, a winger, centre mid, and a defender are all of equal priority. But where we look in January, what is the most feasible, really? And whatever we say about Eddie Nketiah, we would be weakening our squad if we let Eddie Nketiah go, even if it's for 40 million. Happy days. And then we've only got Jesus, which obviously there's injuries. Yeah, you can play Havertz up there, Trossard up there, Martinelli up there. And I'm not saying Eddie Nketiah is the long-term solution, but neither are they really. If I'm completely honest, man said banter club. I hear that, man. I hear that, Man United fan. You only just spent 12 months cheering on City before they dumped the treble on your head back. It's crazy. Need to sell him and move forward. Actually, Anthony would be an Ajax player I'm opposed to signing. To be fair, Anthony looks a bit fraudy, but in the United attack, who's really thriving? Like, who is really thriving in that United 11 for that matter? So there's probably something there. Have you heard the rumors of Ramsdale wanting to leave and feeling isolated in training? We spoke on that yesterday. Yeah, I have. Now, on one hand, unless that comes out officially from Ramsdale's mouth or anyone, I don't know. It's all whispers and things. I don't necessarily think Arsenal would do that to anyone. But at the same time, if he genuinely feels alienated and he can't get his chance back, his spot back, keep it moving. Heard someone say he could hamper our build up. He snaked it, but still won him. I almost forgot Vlahovic snaked us, if I'm honest with you. I wonder how Tony will perform after the big break from football. I don't think Brentford will get rid of Tony in Jan. They got some important players going to AFCON and they're not doing that well. Exactly. And now Mbuemo's injured, so he would have went off to AFCON anyways, but he's going to be out for even longer. If you're Brentford, you're saying, listen, Tony, stay with us, help us out, F off in the summer if that's what you want to do, really and truly. In my opinion, anyways. But, anything can happen. I also think the goalkeeping issue needs sorting. And from an outsider looking in, my opinion, you need a keeper in the mix of them both. I think I hear you, and you're not wrong. And it does look a bit confusing, really and truly. I do think in hindsight, maybe, obviously Mikel Arteta is allowed to bring in whoever he wants, really. But I think maybe his media handling of the Aaron Ramsdale, David Raya situation kind of, exaggerated things. I think it kind of is sorted in that David Raya's played the more games. He's played the more important games. He is the number one right now, really. I think in hindsight, obviously, I don't know if FFP would have made it happen, and I'm not against the signing of David Raya, because if he's better than Ramsdale and he can do what he needs to do, fair enough. But if we knew he was treading close to FFP and had to get him on loan, again, it's not really fair to the club. But I wouldn't say a goalkeeper wasn't a priority because Matt Turner left. But was we better off spending and not bringing in another midfielder, bringing in another defensive body, pressing for a striker? I don't know. And I'd also say, while there isn't, I can't sit here and say there's a mad amount of amazing keepers that are available. We'd have to do what you lot did in signing Alisson. But I think had we have signed someone of the level of an historically old black Manuel Neuer, Van der Sar, whatever quality keeper, I think most people would have just shut up and said, you know what, unlucky Ramsdale, but he's massively above you. I do think in the last few games, David Raya in a nice way has gone under the radar doing his thing. I won't say he's 100% convinced. I won't say you look clear of Ramsdale, because I think you've both got your pros and cons and you're both kind of in the same mix. And I am still waiting to see that Brentford David Raya. But at the same time, I always say, for all of David Raya's faults, your goal is your last line of defense. And personally, just speaking for myself, I've covered this in a video coming out later today, so turn on your notifications. Your goalie is your last line of defense. Yes, criticize your goalie, but before your keeper's made a save or not made a save, or you ask what's going on there, what's the defense? What's the strikers done? What's the centre mids done? And what's the defenders done? Our first defender is Gabriel Jesus. Our first attacker is David Raya. It's meant to be a fluid system. Even the mistakes that Raya made, the set piece, what led to it? Raya has to hold his hands up for that. The Barkley goal I wasn't happy with, but multiple players have switched off. I would say at times, definitely the Newcastle goal, and I want to say the second goal that Fulham scored. It might have been the first. But his positioning, he kind of does look all over the place. And obviously, you look at Chelsea. And that's the thing, man. It comes down to squad depth. Like, obviously, David Raya, I like him, but there's some concerns. Kyrgios, I like you, but it's getting to that stage now where, not that you've had a massive amount of games, but you're not looking it. You ducked out of a header against Sporting Lisbon last season. You was fixing your boot against Brighton. You hardly covered yourself in glory against Luton, or you got terrorized against PSV. And I think against Fulham, you rightly so, you got hooked at half time, really. I think Arsenal have some genuine problems and genuine issues at fullback. Obviously, Tomiyasu's been injured now, going off to the Asia Cup. Benjamin White's fallen off a cliff. I think that's a mixture of having to overplay and injuries. Obviously, Zinchenko, we've accepted him defensively. We know Timber's injured and it's a massive injury. But I actually think fullbacks are harming us a lot more than people make out. Like, I would, if you ask me what defensive body would I want at Arsenal in January, without getting into names, I would like someone of the Tomiyasu and Timber kind of mold that can fill in all the roles, or a centre back that could play, either a left-sided centre back that can play left back properly, or on the other side. And it's very reactionary. But I am probably leaning towards a fullback, if I'm honest with you, man, because I don't think the Zinchenko thing can keep going, if I'm honest with you, man. Oh, well, the very thing you said about Arsenal, talking about history, I hear that, man. I hear that, man. If whatever makes you feel better, my guy, man. But yeah, big up yourself. Have you heard? Oh, sorry, already seen that. I've seen that. Need to sell him and move forward. Welcome back, Daily Dustan. It's jarring, man. I hope the Jones rumours are true and we can get him. Looks like he's about to blow. If I'm honest, I like him. Another for Arsenal. I hear that, but if we truly have potential FFP issues, players like Nketiah solve that, as it represents pure profit. And you're right, but for me, listen, Eddie can go tomorrow. You rise up 40 odd million, you'd be crazy to do that. Eddie could go, and I hear that, but I'm only letting Eddie go And you're right, that is something that can help us, but it don't make sense letting Eddie Nketiah go, and there's no Osimhen, no Ivan Toney, no Solanke, Guirassy, whatever striker we've been linked with. If you don't bring in another striker, we're literally weakening the squad. The squad's already thin. Like, why make it worse? I do think Eddie Nketiah is harshly treated by Arsenal fans, but do I believe unless there's significant progress, Eddie can be part of where we're going to the promised land? 100%. But if we're not rising up another striker, it don't make sense. It really don't, in my opinion. And this is why we should have done what we needed to do in the summer. Realistically, who can we get in Jan? Not a clue, but I'll be here every day to talk about the news, man. I like Eddie, but 40 million for him, we can't complain. You have to be crazy to spend that. Big up Mika Beref, man. I personally think he's going to get sold or go out on loan again, because if you imagine it, if you're a young striker, unless you're like, he's not really a striker, but like when Marcus Rashford came through or Wayne Rooney, I don't think it's going to happen for you up front at Arsenal, really. You know, Balogun couldn't get a sniff. If Arsenal bring in a striker, whether that is Osimhen, Ivan Toney, whatever have you, you're going to have that guy. You're going to have Gabriel Jesus. You're going to have Trossard, Martinelli, Havertz that can all play up there. Whether you're a striker, an 8 or a winger, there's only so much of you that could be on the bench. So there's going to be issues in that regards, man. But yeah, if you can sell him for a profit, why not? You know what? Nobody is a bigger Haaland fan than me. I always say I would love to dream of a world, an impossible dream, in which we have 11 players starting that all from Haaland. But that's not feasible. You know, some people are going to do the Bukayo Saka thing, you know, just go and be part and just be a star. Some people are going to do the Reece Nelson Smith Rowe thing. Some people are going to do the Nketiah thing where you could be here for a couple of years, probably be sold. There'll be some, rightly or wrongly, that have, you know, it would have been nice to give Balogun a chance, where Balogun's gone out on loan, he's put himself in the shop window, and we've sold him. And I do wonder in hindsight now, obviously it was probably a mixture of Balogun weren't in Arteta's thinking and other priorities. But then when you start connecting the dots in the summer, obviously we got David Raya on loan, we bought Havertz and Declan Rice, and we sold Balogun. I wonder if selling Balogun, obviously you need to bring in money, but I wonder if the FFP kind of pressures were there from back then. I don't know, man. If Eddie stays nowhere, we're winning anything. Can't understand what Arteta rates about him so much. I can't lie, realistically, most we can bring in is 2 players in Jan. I want a 6 and Pedro Neto and push Rice into the 8. I hear that. I think Arsenal keep playing the same players over and over, even in a busy period. You guys kept the same 11. Saka needs a rest. Martinelli needs confidence. And Odegaard needs to turn up in a big game. Bit harsh, he turned up at Anfield. It would be nice. I do think mentally, you know, Saka and Martinelli could do with being benched for a game or two and then coming off the bench and whatnot. But this is what I mean, where obviously, when I talk about the trajectory of Arsenal Football Club since Mikel Arteta's walked in, or these last 18 months, probably even 3 years when we missed out to Spurs in the top 4, I like what we're doing. If we're looking at just, we've arrived now, we're trying to win a Prem, bro, there's too many unanswered questions. Saka and Martinelli are quality players, but they're not Mo Salah, innit? They're not going to do it every day, really and truly. While I think we're statistically one of the better teams defensively in the Premier League, and I think we've improved, do we defend necessarily to that of a title winner? You look in the whole of 2023, we've made the most errors leading to goals. Football's decided in both boxes, in the defensive half and the attacking half, and then it's played in the midfield. I don't think Havertz, Odegaard or Rice, within the context of us just being terrible against Fulham, were 3 of the worst players, but it feels like there's something missing there. You know, I feel there's a correlation between Zinchenko's up and down season, his little injuries, Havertz having to find his feet, with Martinelli not looking potent, and obviously the absence of Xhaka or not bringing another number 8. Now, that being said, in life, you have to take accountability for yourself. Martinelli needs to get his own confidence back, needs to get his head up himself. But these are young, volatile players. You know, Saka is the only one that, you know, he's got 6 Premier League goals. He'll probably get towards 10. He's the only one in this Arsenal team for the last 2 or 3 years have been returning a certain amount of goals. I said it in August, and I feel like I'm saying this every day now. Odegaard and Martinelli, give or take, like close to 30 goals between them. I said in August, it wouldn't surprise me if they do that again or don't do that, because that's it's volatile. Odegaard isn't known for goal scoring. Even when I think of Odegaard, I still think of the pretty stuff. Martinelli's trying to add that to his game. Now, when you're fighting for a title, you need these questions answered, essentially. You know, you look at Haaland, regardless of him being injured, and obviously Haaland's an anomaly, but just looking at the numbers, he's got 14 odd. Salah, a lot of, like last season, a lot of people saying he's not playing to as good as he can, and he's looking like he's regressed a bit. He's still up there for the numbers. We're sitting here in December, or better yet, January now. Happy New Year once again. Our 2 top goal scorers are our academy boys. Now, that's great. You know, they've gone from Haaland to being our Premier League top goal scorers, but Saka's got 6 after he bagged against Fulham. 2 of them were pens, not knocking it. There's that. Eddie Nketiah has been on the peripheral things, and his best period at Arsenal, in my opinion, was probably in August when him and Fabio Vieira were probably, you know, the 2 bright spots. Eddie's got 5 goals. 3 of them came in one game. I'm not mocking it, but like we've played 19 games. This is why I was telling fans, I like the fact that relatively there's been, well, this season as well, there's been different scorers off the bench, quote unquote, the goals have kind of been spread out, and that's nice. But I do think fans were hiding behind that. There needs to be cold-hearted killers, and especially when you're fighting for a Premier League title, you need to have assurances that you can get close to 90 points, that you're going to get X amount of clean sheets, that you're going to score X amount of goals, which, to be fair, I think we still got 30 odd. These questions don't have answers. You know, the squad depth. You take a couple of players out that team, or they have a bad game, we're in trouble. There's still the same over-reliance on Martinelli and Saka. If they're having a bad day, which has been the case for everyone really in the last 5 games, what's going on? You know, the squad depth. You take Partey out, which he's not basically played this season, and we've been ticking along until December. Fair enough. But there's a drop-off. We have to wait for Havertz to find his feet. And even with Kai, I like him, but you're not like Granit Xhaka. You don't want to get on the ball enough like that, in my opinion. Declan Rice, Saliba, and Saka, but it's focusing on Declan Rice and Saliba. 9 times out of 10, regardless if we win, lose, draw, play good or bad, their level's above everybody else. But how often can they play up there when their teammates are down there? At some point, they're going to go like that. And to be honest, that was the case of everybody. Definitely, anyone who's playing good in the first half against Fulham, if you could say that, that was definitely the case in the second half. I'd sell Eddie and Nketiah and Nelson, get Sesko, Vlahovic, and move Jesus out wide. But that feels like it's a summer thing, man. Who would you want us to sign? Bro, I'm not. There's half of the players we've been linked with: Olise, Onana, Douglas Luiz, Zubomendi. I wouldn't be against them. What I would say is I think we need a couple of versatile defenders. I think we need a striker. I think we need a winger. And again, depending on what's going on with Ramsdale, and if nothing changes between January and the summer, we need to be scouting a number 2 goalie, man. Let's not overspend on Tony and Jan. Get Zubomendi this month and go for Osman and Leao in the summer. You know we're not getting Zubomendi. He ain't leaving them, man, there mid-season. Can't any of us see Zinni playing the Xhaka role for the rest of the season? He was finding these runs like mad against Villa. At this point, you know, if you're not going to bring anyone else in, you might as well try it, innit? Plus, because you guys have improved so much, teams are showing you more respect. That means you have to play against more low blocks, double up on your wide men, and catch you on the counter. They do that to us. I hear that. And that's the case. But I just think it's a mixture of Arsenal not being clinical. I like the fact of we're very patient. If we can't go forward, we go back, we move it side to side, but there needs to be balance. We do have the ability to go direct, but it just feels like we do that when we're throwing the kitchen sink at things. When you kind of look at the build up to Martinelli scoring against City, I'm sure Brentford, and I'm sure Luton. I just want to see us do that a bit more consistently, and it does feel a bit too scripted in the final third. And you know, earlier on in the season, Arsenal looked decent defensively, decent in the middle third, and we were scoring goals. But a lot of the criticisms, to a degree, we're not really creating. The final third ain't really saying much. I think before we got to December, in recent weeks that followed, we were actually creating chances, really and truly, but now it's a case of putting the ball in the back of the net. So I still think we need a forward. And I remember a few months ago, that's all us Arsenal fans were talking about into January. Now, then it kind of shifted to a midfielder. Then it kind of shifted to a defender. Now we're looking at a wing. I mean, it'd be lovely to have a winger, really and truly. You know, at this point, with Martinelli and Trossard not really doing the business, you might as well give Smith Rowe a goal left wing again, people. Even Nelson. But for at least for this season, or historically with Nelson under Mikel Arteta, you're not rated like that. So if you're not, you might as well shot them and get in wingers that genuinely could, because this is where you could have done with a Pedro Neto, really. Take Saka out the firing line. Or admittedly, if we had Pedro Neto or a winger of that caliber, I'm not going to lie, Saka, you're still going to play. Martinelli, you might have to hold bench, do the super sub thing for a bit. And I always say, to a degree, all of these players have to take accountability. But if I don't feel Jesus has played well this month necessarily, if I don't think Saka's been at his best, if I don't think Martinelli and Trossard have been at their best, if I think Odegaard's been hit or miss, they all have to take accountability. But if I'm saying this about everyone, then the same energy I used to praise Mikel Arteta, I have to ask him what's going on. Odegaard got an assist at Anfield, scored against Chelsea, Spurs, United. When are these big game Odegaard supposed to turn up in? I do think there's games he could do a lot more, but I think people are harsh. I'm open to Vlahovic as a secondary option to Tony. Sell Eddie and Ramsdale, get a backup goalie for 10 mil and go get a striker. Yeah, but can we trust Arsenal to fix those holes in the team? I love Neto, but we should avoid him too injury prone. How do we have FFP problems, but Chelsea are calm? Them man spent $1 billion. I don't know. Maybe we need their accountants, man. Martinelli got an assist at Anfield, did he? Scored against Spurs, Chelsea, United. You guys still making up big games for Odegaard to turn up at. Crystal Palace are interested in signing Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal this month, but the Gunners won't entertain any offers unless they can sign a replacement. So unless you bring in Tony, it's a myth, or anybody, it's a myth, really and truly. To be fair with you, just for argument's sake, if Vlahovic genuinely is available for 50 million and there's a way to be creative in the accountancy, and Eddie, who counts as pure profit, is going to be sold, then make up the 10 million somewhere. Let's keep it moving, really. Big up Mo Hayder, man. Net spend business. Goalkeeper talk. What are your views on Carl Hein prospect, and why doesn't he go on loan too? Needs to go on loan, man. I listen, anything can happen. I don't want to write him off, but I'm not convinced in Carl Hein. Had to stay to be our third choice keeper, but I think he's one that, if I'm him, obviously you're training at Arsenal, it's wavy and all of these things, but I think you need to go, minutes are currency. You need to go and play games, if I'm honest with you. Because if Arsenal ever say, you know what, we're done with you, you know, when your agent is trying to field offers for you to sign for another club, and, you know, think of, I don't know, Bristol City or something. They say, the agent comes in and says, we've got to keep, we say we're interested in a goalie, and he says, I got one for you. He's been at Arsenal. Like, okay, I listen, you know, ball playing, keep, all of that stuff. How many senior appearances has he got? And he has gone on loan before. How many senior appearances has he got? I might be like, nah, he's too inexperienced, because at the end of the day, I need to keep my job. Football is real. Football's real in the Prem, but the lower you get, football is real. And that's why I'm an advocate of picking the right loans, but young players go out on loan. When you make mistakes, you're quickly made to feel. It's high pressure environments. People are fighting for their jobs. You know, it's not good enough to be great on a Tuesday if you're not going to do the business on a Saturday, and ultimately have to install that consistency in your game. Forget about Berrifield, probably get sold. I mean, get a decent profit, man. I swear Liverpool sold Solanke for something decent as well. That's what we need to do, man. Do you like the way you played this season or how you played last season? I mean, last season was probably more entertaining. I don't think there's too much of a difference, if I'm honest. I do think it's a byproduct of teams kind of sussing us out. We have looked like we've struggled to cope with injuries at times, even though generally we've been ticking over. Yeah, probably last season, man. Last season, again, like the Fulham game disappointed me, because games like that last season, when we won, lost or drawn, and what's generally been the case, whether we've been good or bad this season, I've seen 11 players that want to make the difference. The Fulham game kind of reminded me of Arsenal. Oh, this, like, I'm not accusing any player of this, but it's like people are looking at their teammates to make the difference rather than pulling up their pants and getting with it. DG, apparently Arsenal might recall Tierney back. That would be good for us. Again, we'd have to forfeit some of the loan fee and return it to Sociedad. If we can bring Tierney back, I'm all for it. But if I'm Tierney, I'm sitting there and saying, forget that, if I'm honest with you, because I know if Timber is fit sooner rather than later, when Tomiyasu is back, Kyrill's obviously got more minutes than me at times. And obviously, regardless, Zinchenko is going to play. Like, I don't want to hit the bench again, if I'm honest. 27 mil, that's what we need to do. Bring through some of these youths and sell them for them little fees there, if I'm honest. Would it kill Arteta to try Nelson on the left? I would, at this point, when everybody's playing out of their skin, then no. But when it's like this, then you would like to see somebody else get an opportunity, really. You know, for as much as he signed a new deal and he's quote-unquote held in high regards by Arsenal, Reece Nelson's played 87 minutes, and we all know he is the kitchen sink. He's whatever Arteta has planned for all week. When it goes out the window, if it goes out the window, that's when Nelson comes on, or Nelson gets them little man minutes and things. And for Nelson, I know he likes being at Arsenal. You got a big deal. The gaffer likes you. The fans like you. I think you're a decent squad player. But really, and he has had injuries which in the last 2 years which have harmed him as well. But really, January, you played 87 minutes. You ain't even played 90 minutes, 87 Premier League minutes. Is that going to get you in an England squad or in for any other countries eligible for in that setup? Is that going to make you a significantly better footballer? And that's the way we're going. And Ketty and Nelson, I like you lot. I'd more want to hold on to Nelson. But if we bring in a striker or a winger, there's an avenue where you could be on the peripheral like you are now. And we're not relying on you. But wait, it's sink or swim, really. And the better we get as a team, you know, the currents that we're swimming in are getting stronger. The people that helped us rebuild this club and be competitive again might not have been there when we got top four. The players that helped us get top four might not be there to help us get top four again. The players that helped us get top four twice might be not part of mounting a title challenge and ultimately winning it. And then if we were to win a title this season by God's grace or someone else, them players there might not be the ones that help us retain it. Those players that have helped us, or some of them helped us win it twice, might not be the dons that help us win a Champions League. This is football, really and truly. Odegaard should try at 8 and play Smith Rowe 10. I'm all for that. A part of me thinks put Kai Havertz in the 10 role, man, because the one thing I think you can do like Odegaard is the pressing thing, really. And I don't think Havertz offers enough in that 8 role for me. I think he's found his feet. He's all right. I like how he mucks in defensively, but he's not a midfielder that's going to get on the ball and dictate play. He'll play them 1-2s. He'll get stuck in. He'll make those third man runs. That's why I think we miss Xhaka, because we haven't replaced it. As much as I think we should have kept Xhaka, his fight, his experience, you know, the new look Xhaka in that role. I'm not even trying to criticize him, and he's doing well at Leverkusen. But Granit Xhaka is not a Vieira, he's not a Pirlo, he's not a Paul Scholes, he's not a Gerrard, he's not a Lampard. Like, we shouldn't be waffling about him to this degree, really and truly. I don't think Arteta is keeping Kirill. Might be the first to go in Jan/summer. I think summer might have to shot that. Again, if you bring in the bodies to replace these guys, I don't care. But Kirill is someone I might say, you know what? Roma, Napoli, AC Milan, all you lot that are interested in him, smash the like button because we're almost at 100. Summer thing, we'll deal with that really and truly. There's a reality you could sell. Kirill, in my opinion, anyways. Kirill, Reece Nelson, Heavy Heart, Smith Rowe, Aaron Ramsdale, Jorginho, El Nene, Thomas Partey for a variety of reasons, either in January or the summer. But I don't feel comfortable letting people go in January if we're not bringing people in. And if we're really struggling financially, in issues with FFP, then is it really feasible? Is it realistic? Like, really? Because you know we're not going to... Well, to be fair, we did bring in 3 players last. We did bring in 3 players, but yeah, I can't really see it happening, man. Nelly never had an overlapping left back like what Saka has on the other side. Does Timber invert on the right when he comes back, and Tini does the white row on the left? Probably, but at the same time, and you're not wrong, because obviously we had Granit Xhaka there, Zinchenko was in a healthier climate, but beyond the obvious, bro, it's the same thing as last season. Martinelli is making things happen, and to be fair with you, like what Ensman said, I think all of these things are right, and they play a part in Martinelli. I don't think our fullbacks support our wingers enough, but Martinelli needs to hold himself accountable. You need to play with your head up. He looks like he's overthinking. You know, this season and last, even when Martinelli was bagging, he does miss like some mad ones, really and truly. Like, I'm sure he basically missed an open goal once against City. He's had a couple of them. So after training, do some more finishing drills. But form is temporary, class is permanent. I believe in Martinelli, man. What do you think of the shouts for Jesus to play as an 8? Not going to lie, that could be a fun experiment. I don't want fun. I want to win. Nah, G. I just about made peace with the Trossard 8. Nope. You play out wide, play up front, do your thing. Not everybody needs to be multifunctional, if I'm honest. If we had the funds, I would go for Olise or Kudus and Neto. Can forget about Kudus, innit? West Ham's gain is everyone else's loss. Again, we could have done with Kudus because he can play a midfield player out wide. He's wavy in that. Don't know what's going on there. Olise, it's going to cost money, man. Big up DGC and Vlahovic in your title brings back memory. Shout out to everyone who was part of the trenches. Daily Dusan seems to be back. We got 81 likes for flirting with 100. It's crazy. Not going to lie, the decision of selling Xhaka is bewildering. I know he wanted to leave, but I think selling Partey over him would have been better. I honestly think that's what the club would have done. I think in the summer, the club were open to letting Partey go. It's not one that we're not forcing you out the door, but if certain offers come, you might be able to go. I think the club would have wanted to keep Xhaka, but at the end of the day, if man don't want to be here, rightly so. You know what? Granted, I hear it. You know, you leave Arsenal in a higher climate, you return back to Germany where you've been before. You know, when you read his interview, he wasn't actually offered a new deal. You got to think about it from a job perspective. If Leverkusen is giving you a 3, 4, 5, whatever year deal, Arsenal not giving you stuff, at the end of the day, as much as these earn a lot of money and stuff, it's a job. He's got some job security. You're going to keep it moving. And to a degree, there's no time like the present. Like, you're always meant to quit on top. That's something that I wish Arsene Wenger did, which Sir Alex Ferguson did when he left Man United compared to when Wenger left. You know, Wenger should have probably left when we beat Chelsea with Rob Holding, Monreal, Mertesacker, or when we ended that trophy drought against Hull, really and truly. So yeah, Xhaka kept him moving. Like, Xhaka right now, well, the season's been okay until now. Nobody's saying anything. I would have loved for Xhaka to stay. I think I said it in the summer. Like, I would have loved 2 centre mids, Xhaka and Partey. You lot stay, and it's more like not demote them, but you go from that kind of gradually throughout the season. It goes from being what would have been Odegaard, Xhaka, and Partey. You know, well, now Rice would have come in. You know, Rice and Xhaka, you lot go from being starting every week to more squad players, and indirectly there's enough game time. Assuming that was our options, Declan Rice, another 6, Xhaka and Partey or something. We're not waffling about Jorginho. There's like, we need depth. Liverpool's the only team I've seen in recent years that have gone all the distance without depth, really. And even Liverpool, they're starting to learn that. That's why they're bringing in players. You know, last season they were killed by depth. You know, when they were winning the champs in the Prem, they had a relatively small squad. However they were keeping them fit, they were doing it. But that's Liverpool's thing. No one else can afford to do that. Olise is saucy. I like Frimpong from Leverkusen. I want Olise at Liverpool so much. He's got a 50 million buyout clause in his contract. Apparently, it's a clause to only Liverpool. Don't know how much truth that is, though. Why would it only be to Liverpool, though? Spurs low-key better than us. I hear that. I hear that. Big up DG. Not a lot of our targets seem to be possible in Jan. Who can you see us signing, if anyone? Honestly, I don't know, but I'll be watching with you, lot, man. Honestly, I don't know. I really don't have a clue, man. You know, they talk about loans, who is available on loan. You look back last January. Obviously, Kirill cost 20 odd quid from Spezia, with the greatest of respect. That's an easy one to get done. Jorginho Jorginho wouldn't have cost a madness anyways, but Chelsea made it clear you need to keep it moving. Trossard and De Zerbi got into a little bit of a kerfuffle, and he was already out the door at Brighton. So these were market opportunities. These are reactive. As much as I want Arsenal to be proactive, we know we need a striker, we need a winger, we need a centre mid or two, we need a defender or two. To a degree, you need to be a bit reactive, because some players that it might have been clear that, you know, from August till now, they're not leaving in Jan. They might suddenly become available. Player bust ups, players needing to leave. Other clubs, for players that we want to sign, they might sign players in that row, and their willingness to let them go might change. But in January, you only got a month. It is a reactive window. You've only got a month, and every day that ticks, you know, you're less likely to sign whatever player you want, really. It is what it is. Vlahovic is so mid, in my opinion. Serbian Højlund. I'd rather go for Tony or even Solanke. I take back a Yoko at PSV if the rates make sense. I like him a lot. He terrorized Kirill. I'm not really going to praise him, man, for ripping Kirill. Santi is still playing in the second division of Spain, 6-month loan. Who says no, bro? At this point, might as well get the band together. Mikel Arteta and Edu. I'm sure with a couple weeks training, you lot could play in our midfield. Patrick Vieira, wherever you are, you need to get in the team. Cesc Fabregas, you need to come back. Jack Wilshere probably get injured, but he's still only 32. Register him. We might have to start running all of those things, if I'm honest. It's crazy. Tony comes with a risk. He ain't been playing for months. Exactly. But to be fair, everyone does. How much would Boniface cost? He is an Arsenal fan. I don't think him being an Arsenal fan has any relevance to him signing for us. Obviously, it's an extra sweetener in that, but he's going to cost a lot of money. Leverkusen are fighting for the Bundesliga. Whatever they're going to ask for in the summer, they're probably going to double it in what they're asking in Jan. You've got to pay an inconvenience fee to these clubs if you want to take their key players. It's literally put up or shut up. Push Rice into that 8 row instead of Havertz, but we need a 6. We need so much, man. We need so much. I believe this is our last rebuilding phase. I hear that, but if I had one criticism for my club, as much as I love us, we're in love with this project. We like having, not that we do things half done, but if we have a 10, we don't want to sign a striker. If we have a striker, we need to find a 10. If we've got the striker and the 10, we need to find a 6. If we have the 6 and the 10, we ain't got an 8. If we've got a half decent defense, we ain't got a goalie. If we've got a decent goalie, we ain't got a decent defense. It's like we always love being 2-3 pieces of a puzzle. If I'm honest, Tony's a killer up front and he's elite at link-up play. Bring Tony to the carpet. But again, it comes down to money. Like it comes down to money. And obviously, as we said, with Brentford, obviously they've got injuries. Their season's a bit of a madness. They stuck by him. Couple of players, at least we saw, because Mbuemo's injured now, is going off to AFCON. They're probably sitting there saying, you know what, Tony, you're staying. Like, we know we'll probably, if we, assuming Arsenal for the deal, we can, if Arsenal want to spend certain money, we might even, in some realities, get more money for you in January. And we know we'll get less in the summer because your contract's winding down. But it will still be a decent profit. And it can help. Listen, in the same way people are waffling about Ivan Toney could be the difference between what we want to do and scoring those goals. Goals matter for everyone. If you're fighting relegation, if you're pushing for Europa and Champions League spaces, you're pushing for the league, if you're battling to stay in the league, goals win games. And if I'm Brentford at this moment in time, bro, Tony, you got to stay, really. Probably been waiting for you for how long? Fetish for unfinished projects, jarring. Would love Sesko in the summer. He's one of the top strikers on my list, personally. Yeah, if you were buying Leverkusen player, you'd be silly to leave right now. It's not even that you'd be silly. Buying Leverkusen, like Frimpong's linked with a move away. Boniface linked with a move away. That's going to make your squad weaker. And obviously, if we go and buy Boniface or Frimpong or whatever for this example, Leverkusen have to go replace them. Whatever money we give them, if you're the club that has these replacements that they want, you're going to sit there and say, well, we know Premier League Arsenal just bought someone from you. We would have said 10 million. Now it's 20. This is life, really. Arsenal, we know we've had money. Everyone's had money in the Prem. Spending money ain't everything. Or Man United, Arsenal, even Spurs with the Ndombele stuff, they'd be doing a lot better than City to a degree. But, we've kind of indirectly showed our hand, man. Shout out to Shino's Arsenal for recommending you. Just finished her stream. Big up, Jess. We're due to record something this week, actually. Big up, Wax. Shout out me, broski. We're due to record something. Tomorrow I'm recording with Different Knock. I should still be recording with Babs today as well. Assuming no one flops. Babs, Different Knock. She knows Arsenal. I should be on Troops' stream on Friday. There's someone else, forgive me, but we're working, man. We're grinding. Get onto them ends as well. Like he said, 88 likes. You lot are, I don't know what's wrong with you lot. The best things in life are free. Click the thing, man. And appreciate you lot who have done such already, man. Would you take Sancho for a cut price? You'll probably go for peanuts. I mean, yes, because I'm a fan of Jadon Sancho. You know, he was one of the early videos I've done on my YouTube channel. I like the guy. I think, you know, in our team, not that our attackers are doing great. I think he would be good for us. I think, you know, being in London, Sancho looks like a player that needs to just be shown a little bit of love. I would take Jadon Sancho. He fits in with our project. But when you break it down, if he is to leave United and come to Arsenal, they're going to try and bump us. He's going to be on massive wages. I don't give a crap what you lot get paid because it's nothing to do with me. You know, bust me a little 10% or something I could do with it. But it's not going to correlate. And at this moment in time, I do think if Jadon can show his quality, then yeah. But at this moment in time, I don't know if you're going to perform better than Trossard, Martinelli, or Saka out wide anywhere. So I would, but when you break it down, it don't really make sense. And for all of that, I don't know if Jadon Sancho's going to hit the ground running. You know, the man, he's basically been on an Ivan Toney thing. He ain't played. So yeah, man, if I'm honest. And I don't like to be that guy, you know, especially when it comes to, you know, certain types of footballers. You know how they like to say the attitude problem and stuff. But when I do see Jadon Sancho, I do wonder. I'm not saying you don't want to improve or be a better footballer, but I question your motivation. I'm not even with this Ten Hag stuff, because Ten Hag's beefing everyone. So I think, you know, even Man United fans, when Ronaldo versus Ten Hag, I think people might have leaned it towards Ten Hag. But when it's every week now, yours the issue. But I just wonder, when you're a young man, you've come from London, you've been capped by England, you've played for Dortmund, you're at Man United, it's all wavy, you know. And this is not just Sancho, many footballers, like you're kind of indirectly comfortable. You're a good footballer, you're at the pinnacle, you're doing what everybody aspired to do. But do you want to be great? Do you want to push every day? I don't know, because I think Jadon Sancho's got so much potential. If it continues like this, he's going to one day look back and think, rah, you know what? I had a good career, earned a lot of money, but what could have been? What could have been? 300 bags, and I don't care what you're getting, but you need to do a madness. Deluded, I can't lie. Jess's leg, you're moving mad. She got my description and she loves football. All right, hooker, brother, you're moving mad. Listen, allow me. I'm not involved. Big up Jess. Talk about football. Don't do that. I don't know, man. DM her. I don't know. I don't know. Big up Jess, though. I'm not involved, man. I'm not involved. I don't know. Is she? I've never looked. I've never preed. I don't know. Boniface is good. He's lit, man. Obviously, the one thing I would say with Boniface, Vlahovic, Osimhen, I think once you're a baller, you can ball out in any leagues, because obviously the way football is played in any of the top 5 leagues is different. But unless there's 12 players and there's 2 footballs on the pitch and stuff, if you're a baller in England, you can be a baller in Germany. But at the same time, I do think there's a quote-unquote tax, really, that needs to be applied, really and truly. I don't know if the exchange rate, you know, into pounds is going to be the same in the Premier League, man. Moving mad, man. Don't know, man. I don't know about that. Is Vlahovic really available for 50 million? Surely that's a steal. It could be. Are you going to follow the AFCON? I watched it for the first time last time it was on and I enjoyed it. I mean, we'll get some watch-alongs. I can't lie. Some of the games are a hard watch. They're so boring. But then when the games are good, they're good. And what I like about AFCON is it makes no sense. Like, you have Mane, Salah, Partey, Kessié. I don't know if he's actually played, but Basuma. You'd have these household names, yeah? And they're playing on some dodgy pitches, and they're playing against players that are probably part-timers. And the part-timers are making them look average. You know, AFCON makes everything you know about football. AFCON just takes it all out the equation. None of it makes sense. And that's why I think it's so entertaining, if I'm honest. Olise, man. Yeah, you lot are mad, man. Keep it football. Small sample size with Boniface right now. Need to see more. I don't think, you know, I think with every striker that we've been linked with or us fans want, I think there's question marks over all of them, whether it's exchange rate, general play, injuries. I think everybody's kind of got something around them. Why don't we focus on bringing up the kids, Holland and Patino midfielder dream? I don't think Salah's going to make it here. Patino, I think it depends on how many midfield options we actually have. He's doing what he needs to do at Swansea and so on and so forth, building on the Blackpool loan. So we'd have to see. Osimhen would be mine, but the dream is free. The hustle is definitely sold separately, my dude. We've got 105 likes. If you've hit the like button, God bless you all. Hope you all win the lottery. If you haven't, hope your baby mum cheat on you, people. Or for the galley out there, your baby daddies, people. Anyways, moving on. We got a lot of, you know, the talking points from you lot have been amazing. but we've got a lot of tabs to go over. Allegedly, the Times are saying Arsenal have been scouting for a top forward, but because of the lack of options, available options, and the club's finances, a signing seems more likely to happen in the summer. That could change, however, if the club receive a good offer for Nketiah this month. Palace, just a small 50 million. Brentford, let's get the Tony thing gone, man. Or even that. Give us Ivan Tony. I'm on the snaky thing. I can't lie. Let them have Eddie Nketiah on loan. Hopefully, Eddie Nketiah goes there, gets 10 odd goals or looks a bit better. Then he comes back to Arsenal. We sell him for more money, really. You got to play chess, people. Gary Cottrell of Sky Sports News has said, I don't think Brentford will sell Tony in January. Another player we know Arteta is a fan of is Dusan Vlahovic. Juventus wanted 50 million, but that was too steep for Arsenal. I mean, 50 million too steep for me. I couldn't tell you where to look for that, but... Oh, 50 mil. That tells me he might not. If that, again, excluding if FFP is a reason, that tells me you don't really rate Vlahovic like that. But allegedly, that was too steep for Arsenal. But Juventus have financial problems. They would listen to a cash plus player offer. And there are also these tax rules in Italy, which is something for them to consider. So that's probably going to fuel the rumours if it's not there already. Charlie Patino's been linked with Juventus and Partey historically. That's probably going to fuel the rumours in the next few days. Swap deals and all of these sort of things, people. What else have we got? Mikel Arteta wants a fullback, holding midfielder and a forward, but is hampered by financial constraints and mid-season market being notoriously difficult for finding top players, especially as he has tended to shop within the Premier League. Then we ain't managed our budget right, have we really? David Ornstein has said, I think for Arsenal to be able to operate and do some business in January, you need to be looking at some departures. Right now, I don't want to disappoint people looking at this, but there isn't anything actively developing on the Arsenal front. That doesn't mean things aren't going on in the back burners. A man said, man always has 100 tabs open. Sort it out, bro. Zach, this is how Bukayo Saka must feel. I'm trying day in, day out. And the very fans who love me are now hated. Do you want to cover everything or not? You know what? You sit here and do this, mate. Allow me, man. I can't lie. The vast majority of these tabs, man, trying to learn that. Look, man, trying to do the YouTube learning stuff and the algorithm and that and still make content. Allow me, man. Oh, big up Overtime for the raid. Let me look on Twitch. I'm unaware of that. Overtime, appreciate you for the raid, my dude. And big up everybody on Twitch. We're playing Football Manager later at some point. You lot are harsh, man. Man said you see RedTube. No, you don't. No, you don't. And I'm not a sucker. You think if I'm going to do that, I'm going to pull it on the tab I use to make content with you lot. Madness. Right, you lot can't see. I'll use the screen in front of me. You get crazy. Crazy. Oh, madman. But anyways, big up you lot and hi to whoever just commented that. We saw this yesterday, but allegedly Premier League clubs are showing interest in Reece Nelson, with West Ham being one as reported. And again, Eddie Nketiah and Nelson would present a chance for 100% profit, but at the same time, we slightly need a squad, man. Well, man, I'm watching Pinky. We in 1998. You're from Barcelona in Spain. Appreciate you. You need to be scouting us some midfielders. Apparently, Arsenal are interested in Hato, as mentioned a couple weeks ago, but some context to it. Arsenal think his value doubles, if not trebles, if he signs a new contract, as he only has 18 months left, which is true. If we managed to sign him in January, I believe he would count as homegrown, as he would be registered for 3 years before he's 21. Don't know if it will happen, but internally it's seen as a real value opportunity. Start chatting to him, Timber. Chat to your boy, man. Chat to your boy. Romano on Solanke said, I have no updates on his future so far. It's still quiet. He's doing great, so he could be one to watch. But at the moment, I don't have any concrete updates to speak of. Personally, I feel like Solanke. Personally, I really like Solanke, but I also think Arsenal need a top player in that position should they invest on a striker, and it's not easy in January. I hear that. On Ramsdale, there have been further reports about Aaron Ramsdale and a possible departure if a big offer comes in. It's certainly the case that a big offer can always persuade clubs to sell, especially if they're not starters like Ramsdale. But as of now, there is no big proposal on the table. The situation is still quiet. In case they receive a big proposal, the situation could change. On Tomiyasu, apparently we're advancing in the final stages to him getting a new deal. He has been linked with several clubs in Italy, and it hasn't come to anything. So it's nice to see we keep him, man. Please don't. No, big up Northside, man. Big up Northside. Listen, you can, for me, listen, what people say is their business, innit? As long as no one's being disrespectful to my people in the chat or myself, or no one's being disrespectful, you could be as pessimistic or as optimistic as you want. You could shout or convey yourself. Variety is the spice of life, man. It's the spice of life. Solanke ain't a bad idea if we can't get our first options. That screams desperation, though. That's that. You can't get the gal you want, so you're chatting to the fat thing. It don't make sense. We got the fat galley out there because we don't discriminate. We love the biggest. We love all the lot. But still, we covered this yesterday. Arsenal have already made contact with Liverpool midfielder Curtis Jones ahead of a potential summer transfer. Mikel Arteta really wants to sign the player. Well, get it going then. There is also optimism about Ben White, who could be the next one to sign a new deal at Arsenal. A player to keep an eye on with Arsenal is Ahamadou Onana at Everton, who we know Chelsea were looking at previously. And with Everton's financial predicament, there's a possibility he could be sold this month. We've been here before, ain't we? Big up my guy Kaya. Need to get you back on the channel. He has said Arsenal are scanning the market for potential forward additions in January. One of the names they may want to look at is Boniface. Football London understands that Boniface is an Arsenal fan. This could give the Gunners a huge advantage when it comes to a potential transfer. And obviously him being an Arsenal fan can make the difference, but it comes down to the length of contract, his willingness to force through that move, the willingness from Leverkusen with them fighting for a title to get a deal done. And if Arsenal have the money, being an Arsenal fan means kind of F4 really, if I'm completely honest with you. Just making sure we ain't missed out anything, people. It may be a move that has to wait until the summer if it goes ahead, though. Leverkusen are leading the way in the Bundesliga title race and will not want to give up their best striker, although there's no sell-on fee that the German side have to adhere to. Well, to be fair, Boniface's last club, that's good business from Leverkusen, but whoever they bought Boniface from to not have a sell-on clause, I think they messed up there, really. In terms of Olise, allegedly he's been linked with Arsenal. He's actually been linked with Man United for a summer move as well. This article said, Olise, I think, is a great shout, but the cost would be high. All sorts of murmurings about a release clause in his new deal. So you have to imagine he's gettable to a degree, but he would be expensive. The feeling with him and with wingers is so hard to pitch to players to come to Arsenal and play in the same position with Saka. And I've not seen enough of Olise as a 10 or on the left to say he can play there. Bro, back yourself, because if you go to Arsenal, if you go to any of these, if you go to City, you've been linked with him, Liverpool, bro, there's going to be competition. Respectfully to Crystal Palace, it's not going to be adapting. And I think Olise is a good player. And he shows some moments of real quality, wonderful footballer. But I think to go to the next level, he needs to be at that all the time. Bro, big up Reece Nelson, but he's from South London. If Olise is on arriving, Eddie, Nelson, maybe even a cheeky Smith Rowe loan, you man. One love. Eze, let's talk as well, even though I banter you a lot. We've been linked with Marcus Leonardo, but at the same time, apparently Benfica, as I told you lot, are moving closer to signing him, another striker, really, who's been described as extremely raw. Apparently he's signing for Benfica, so it makes no sense to really mention this guy, but I'll read it for you lot anyways. One I'm being told Arsenal are looking at is Santos striker Marcus Leonardo. He had a very good under-20 World Cup a few months back. Santos have just... Did he play there? Was he at the under-20 World Cup? Might have to VAR that and go back through my scouting notes. Oh, yeah, shit, he did actually. I'm thinking of the under-17s. Santos have just been relegated. What's interesting about him is that they have been relegated much sooner had it not been for his goals. He's been scoring goals in a losing cause. We'd love for someone to do that at our club. He's one who is very raw and he's a penalty area operator, not a target man operator, but a bit like Romario. He's very good in restricted space and doesn't offer you a great deal outside the penalty area. His link-up play still leaves a lot to be decided. I mean, does anyone expect a 20-year-old to really have all of that on lock? But it could be interesting for Arsenal because his skill set could fit in with other strikers they have. There will be competition for him from others. Benfica are getting very interested as well. And apparently he's got a 20 million price tag, which some reports today said he's gone there. We've been linked with Onana as we went over, people. Again, we'll be reading the same things. But yeah, he's gone. Zubamendi, what's this? Arsenal seriously interested in move for Zubamendi, who Arteta really admires. We've been here before, ain't we, people? Where's the actual stuff, people? There's definitely some serious interest in it. It's hard to gauge at the moment what their rankings would be in terms of order of targets because you've got a few names they're looking at and the type of player is clearly that defensive-minded one. The guy that is going to keep possession, break-up play, but it's really tough, Whether Zubamendi is going to be a top target or just a target, it also depends, of course, how much money they have to invest in that area of the field. It's a player that definitely I know that Arteta really admires and I think a lot of this is led by him. Well, inject some money into this club, do some financial doping. Sometimes in life, you got to do dirty things to live clean, people. For what it's worth, though, we tried to get him last Jan. He, Man United, Arsenal, Barca all linked with him in the summer for one reason or another. He didn't keep it moving. He stayed at Sociedad. So maybe the rumors wasn't quite as real as suggested. But he did say, I never planned to leave Real Sociedad. I always say that. I love life here at home. I'm so happy here. The values of this club are the same as mine. So I feel really good. I've always said that I'm happy. Everybody who's Spanish or who can speak Spanish in this Arsenal team, start calling him. Arteta, you're Spanish like him. You want to play sexy football like him. You was a midfielder. You're from that area in Spain. Chat to him. David Raya, call him for no reason as well. Let's get that done. Tierney, gas us up as well. Arsenal have no chance of signing the lit in January. I mean, did anyone think any different? We know this. But nonetheless, just to entertain you lot, people, when you think of a partner for Saliba going forward, there's probably not many you could get that would be better than the lit. That's definitely an interesting one for them to target. But first and foremost, Arsenal are focusing on this January window, and there's no chance they're going to be getting the lit right now. There's a chance they'll spend money on their defense. It wouldn't surprise me if they were to invest any money they have available in the back line. But if there's not a good option, there's a loan, and it's certainly going to be a good idea. I can't lie, Bayern Munich, the lit's not that good, you know. Kyrill's better than him. We might as well do a swap deal. Apparently, Ivan Toney's possible January transfer to Arsenal or Chelsea from Brentford has emotions running high with Peterborough chairman. I mean, he really cares. Okay. We know we want Ivan Toney. Big up Peterborough, but no one really gives a flying monkeys what he has to say. Apparently, Toney is hopeful of a move to Arsenal in the January transfer window, but Mikel Arteta's side have no intention of paying the 100 million asking price that Brentford have set. Now, we've covered this yesterday, people, but from what it said, Arsenal will refuse to pay that amount of money now or in the summer. In the summer, I don't think it will be that. From Toney's point of view, sources claim that he wants to move to the Emirates above all others and would also prefer to go in the winter window. So we'll have to see, people. Arsenal have been told the fate of Marcus Leonardo. Again, allegedly, you know, Benfica have submitted a formal bid in the last few hours, as revealed by the new Santos president tonight, says Romano. Deal being sealed on an 80 million euro deal and structured of add-ons will be the final step, and it'll probably be sold to the English market in a few years. Marcus Leonardo to Benfica. Here we go. Agreement in place. With Santos for the Brazilian striker after initial bid on Tuesday. So there you have it. You can another one bites the dust. Another player out of Brazil that Edu, quote unquote, has been failed to get Paulinho. Would love that. Why is this frozen? The standard. What's going on here? Well, this would say, well, this, oh, here we go. I just thought you let me down. Arsenal trio, Cedric Suarez, Mohamed El Nene, let's pause that. Mohamed El Nene and Tavares are all subject of transfer interest in January. I can't be the only one who keeps forgetting Tavares is here. We know we want to be active in the market. We know we're stuck by FFP. Cedric still has 6 months on a 100K deal. You, Nelson, and Ketty all on some mad money, you know, it's crazy. But yeah, nonetheless, apparently, Cedric has interest from Besiktas and Trabzonspor, while Villarreal have been tracking him since last summer. Again, El Nene's been linked with a number of clubs in Turkey as well as Saudi Arabia. I don't know what's going on with Nuno Tavares, people. His loan could be cut short amid interest from clubs in Europe. He's made just 3 appearances this season. He has been injured, but it's hardly what you want to see. A number of Arsenal youngsters are attracting interest from sides who want to take them on loan. Koza Jubri is wanted by clubs in the Championship and League One. I'd want to keep him close if I'm Mikel Arteta, but if I was Koza Jubri, I'd probably want to go out on loan and play some first team football. Waters is being courted as well, and if I was him, if I'm Arsenal, I'm probably keeping him close if we don't bring a defensive body, but I'd probably push to take the next steps in my career. Rumours of Kieran Tierney being recalled won't go away. I personally don't feel there's any truth in that. Of course, I would love to be proven wrong. Apparently, Ivan Toney's sell-on clause is revealed, with Premier League rivals set for huge windfall if Arsenal seal a 100 million deal. So you'd imagine Newcastle, Peterborough get some money from that. Juventus allegedly have moved on from Thomas Partey, people. Thomas Partey is expected to stay at Arsenal beyond January, and we already knew that. Apparently, you know, Juventus, for a mixture of financial concerns and concerns over his injury, are saying forget about him. One Brazilian winger who could be arriving at Arsenal. Arsenal in talks with FC Nantes over recalling Marquinhos from his loan spell at the French club. He's played just 6 times. Boy, played just 6 times for Arsenal. He's only got 1 start currently over there in France. So Nuno Tavares and Marquinhos, you've somehow made yourself look even worse. I like you, Marquinhos. No, I don't. I don't. I think you're a good guy, but you're not a good player. I can't even lie, man. You just turn that 3 million into 13 and let's bust out. A new striker is the January priority for Arsenal following their recent dip in form. Well, we keep hearing the same things. Reece Nelson is drawing interest from other clubs, and apparently Arsenal are actually willing to let him go on loan. I don't understand that. It's either use him as a make weight in the deal, use him to sell, so obviously we can bring in people. Apparently we're prepared to sell Kyrill's and sign a defender. Keep it moving in the summer. Chelsea, Newcastle, and Arsenal every day. Another club is being linked with Diomande, so we'll have to watch that one closely. One for the summer. Spurs and Arsenal are fighting to sign Jarek Gazoriki. Well, the Spanish. I'm pretty sure he's a centre half with the long hair like Puyol. Gazorikowski. Big up yourself. But yeah, we've been linked with him again. Doesn't appear that there's anything new, so we'll just keep it moving with what we've got here. We're set to miss out with Benfica for my man, as we've said. We've already covered that. We've already gone over that. See, I'll make sure I don't miss anything. Arsenal could jump in for lightning target as selling club hit FFP crisis for one club to another. People, again, this links us with Vlahovic. We've kind of read that already. Well, we'll have to see. Apparently, I've watched him a couple of times now. He is lightning. It's ridiculous. He has got 16 and 18 this season. His left foot is like a 1. I'm telling you now, he's everything. He's everything you need. Michael Richard gassing him up. Bring him. Then I'm sold then, innit, if that's the case. So, yeah, Tomiyasu's spoken about the Asia Cup. He's basically said he wants it in June, like the Euros and everything else, and also said the AFCON should have that. I've never seen this player in my life, people, but Arsenal have been linked with Mohamed El Amin Almoro. Never seen him in my life, people, and Google Translate isn't being much helpful. It don't even say what position the man plays. So, we're alone there, people. And as we said, Man United are apparently interested in signing Olise, people. Signed a new contract, a new 4-year deal in August. Pardon me, he's only on 100 bags, so everyone could say only. I wish I had that. So I think everyone could do that. And he's got a release clause that comes into effect in the summer. The size of that release clause is unknown, but it's likely to be significantly more than the 35 million release clause in his previous Palace contract, which should be the case. Arsenal committed more errors leading to an opposition goal 11 than any team in the Premier League in 2023. So that's something we're going to have to pattern up at. For what it's worth, Elneny's been linked with moves away, but he's also been selected in the AFCON squad for Egypt. People, the best Egyptian in the Premier League. Salah's all right. Thomas Partey will be staying at home, people. So, yeah. Olise on the same money as Nketiah. What a laugh. 2 different clubs, innit? Get what you can hustle, really. Olise is a big deal. Should have sold in the summer and got an adequate replacement. Once Partey reaches the last year, he's going to leave on the free, especially with the wages. I hear that. Marquinhos needs a stable environment, maybe. Yeah, but not here, man. Edu has been so wasteful of money when you look at our transfers. Marie, Tavares, Lokonga, Suarez, Cedric, Kyrgios, Williams, Jorginho. I'm sure there is more. There is more. The keepers. To be fair, Arteta's got to hold the blame for that as well, because the club talk about collaborative and stuff, and obviously Edu's job is to sign the players, but nothing is happening without Arteta say so. And as much as I think Arteta's hits to miss ratio has been a lot better, we've signed some duds. Why pay 100 million now for a possible Rusty Tony when we can pay the buyout of 120 million for Osimhen in the summer? Paulinho, technically way too bad for Arsenal. What you talking? I never said that. I'd have Paulinho tomorrow, really. Thought we paid the extra 1 million for Marquinhos to get the front line access. I know Edu pocketed that. DG, don't lose the faith in us getting Zubimendi. I'm typically pessimistic on half of these signings, people. You know, when I see them sign for the club, then we talking it. I mean, I'd love to see Eze, but I'd rather Olise, if I'm honest. Olise is way too similar to Saka for me, and he's slow. He ain't going nowhere, even if he beats his man. Bit harsh to call him slow. Free Smith Rowe, but he needs to probably free himself now, innit? Don't understand how he didn't come off the bench, if I'm honest, if I'm completely honest with you, against Fulham. But I'm sure the manager had his own reasons. I don't get it. Who makes the final decision, Edu or Arteta, on signings? I think both. Well, I'd say the final decision has to definitely go with Josh Kroenke, because he probably signs off. But I think Arteta must say who players he wants. Edu comes with other people, comes with a list, and they break it down. That's why they all have to share the same L's. Arteta binned Martinez, Leno, Turner, Runnison, and now Ramsdale to end up with Raya. I hear that in a circle, and you're not wrong. But remove Turner and Runnison. They, you know, you can't say that with Arteta. Them man were crap, but then he signed them. So whoever's suggesting these goalies, they might be a Spurs fan in disguise. I can't lie. What is Edu doing? Where are the Brazilian ballers? I thought he had some contacts. Needs to make it happen, man. Man can't be coming with Marquinhos. It's crazy. Vlahovic isn't the guy, can't score in a crowded box, does nothing with his back to goal, doesn't fit our system, needs another striker next to him. Harsh, man. I hear it, though. Harsh. Nelson has to stay. I think Osimhen's going Chelsea as well, man. I'd love it to be the case, but yeah. Liverpool have Salah, Man City have Kevin De Bruyne, Haaland, and Rodri. Spurs have Son. We don't have any elite players. Mbappe, Leao, Osimhen, De Jong. We need killers now. I hear that, but it's easier said than done, innit? I'd love them names, but yeah. And Trusay did want Raya in the first place. I get people dislike Eddie, but they also have to realize he's our top goal scorer, Saka now, which tells us the issue is bigger than just a striker. Our whole team is underperforming. Arteta needs to fix up. I'm here for that. Olise got the Wenger co-sign. Bring him. Amen. Fundamentally, that's it. You know, Wenger co-signed him. Bring him. You know, I'm a big fan of Mr. Arson. So bring him to the carpet, man. It's as simple as that. But with that being said, though, people, I've enjoyed you lot's talking points, your questions, your differences of opinions, going through the latest news with you lot. Appreciative to all of you lot on Twitch and Twitter and everyone who smashed the like button. There's literally nothing else to go over, people. So I'm not going to bore you lot with such. Again, any news that comes out between lives and videos, you know, you can rest assured that I've got you covered. Again, I think I've got a video coming out at 4 p.m. where I'm more talking about the last month in the Premier League. So yeah, have a butchers of the other videos. Appreciative to you lot tuned in. If you haven't liked, commented and subscribed, then what you're doing, leave a comment after. And most importantly, I hope you and your loved ones stay blessed, and I hope whatever you lot are doing with your day, you get fulfillment. And I hope 2024 is a great year for everybody, people. So yeah, man, bless up you lot. I'm out.
Against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
There's always just that active red light, defending.